A very good evening to you all and welcome to the English News Bulletin here on Rwanda Television. We are glad you could join us. We'll begin this bulletin with the headlines. The President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, demonstrated that retired Ambassador Colonel Dr. Joseph Karemera, who recently passed away, will always be remembered for the values of patriotism and service he embodied throughout his life. Aegis Trust's Peace Education Program in Rwanda emphasizes empathy, critical thinking, and personal responsibility. In this, we will have an interview about this and we will hear more on it. On the international scene, we will go in the Middle East where Lebanese refugees have been fleeing to Syria as the Israel-Hezbollah conflict intensifies. My name is Olivia and it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Now let's take a closer look at the news. Kicking off, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, demonstrated that retired Ambassador Colonel Dr. Joseph Karemera, who recently passed away, will always be remembered for the values of patriotism and service he embodied through his life. The head of state reiterated this during a farewell ceremony held at the Parliament of Rwanda. Adam Squizera kicks us off tonight.
Agiye abizi, agiye azi ko tubiziranyeho, ariko ubona uvuga ngo agiye neza.
President Paul Kagame and First Lady Jeannette Kagame on Wednesday, alongside government officials, they attended the farewell ceremony held in honor of former ambassador, retired Colonel Dr. Joseph Karemera. President Paul Kagame fondly remembered Ambassador Colonel retired Joseph Karemera, whom he first met in late 1970s. President Kagame highlighted his pivotal role in national building, noting his significant contributions to put an end to the bad governance. He passed away, but he had time to experience the outcomes of his efforts. He passed away recently, but at least he experienced it. He experienced where the country came from and where it is today. That is life, even if people don't get used to it. As people, we want to live, but we cannot get used to the fact that life has an end. President Paul Kagame demonstrated that Ambassador retired Colonel Joseph Karemera, who recently passed away, will always be remembered for the values of patriotism and service he embodied throughout his life. Those people tried to influence him. They tried to manipulate him from all sides, attempting to control him as they have done with others. Those I'm talking about, they are still alive but not living in this country. Those got manipulated, but it didn't work for them. No one went in that lane, either alive or living abroad, would say that he's living in good conditions than how he was living while he was in Rwanda. They also tried Karemera, but because of the lessons he had learned from life, because of his character, because of the politics that has shaped him and that he played a role in building from the beginning, he stood firm. He couldn't be swayed. Retired Colonel Camille Karije, brother of Dr. Joseph Karemera, expressed deep gratitude on behalf of the Karemera family to the Rwandan leadership. On behalf of the Karemera family, we would like to express our deep gratitude for your unwavering support, which allowed him to live with cancer for 13 years. We are also profoundly thankful for the continued support provided by the RDF administration from the vigil until this very day. Dr. Joseph Karemera was diagnosed with cancer in 2011 and underwent treatments in several countries including Rwanda, India, Germany, and Turkey. He died at the age of 70. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams. Now moving ahead, Aegis Trust's Peace Education Program in Rwanda emphasizes empathy, critical thinking, and personal responsibility. This initiative has empowered people to lay down their weapons and abandon the desire for revenge. Our colleague William Evans Mutabazi sat down with Freddie Mutanguha, the CEO of Aegis, who also led the development of this peace education program. We have to hear more on this.
We want to look at Rwanda's peace education program. I'm very privileged to talk to the CEO, Aegis Trust, but also a person that has been has spearheaded the program. He's spearheaded the peace education program of Aegis, and I think he's been with Aegis from the time of establishment. Mr. Freddie, happy to have you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me tonight.
Yes. I understand you've been part and parcel of the entire program, peace program. We want to understand first of all what is this peace education program. What is it, and how did it start?
So, Aegis Trust introduced peace education program as it's not a body of learning, like biology, like history, like mathematics. It's not also a lesson that can be taught, but it's a process of learning where the learners need to internalize the skills and the values and knowledge and the competencies and skills such as critical thinking, empathy, personal responsibility, and actions, so that the learners can be able to resolve their conflict amicably and constructively. It's very, very important that the young people really learn about this process, because they are the most vulnerable people to be manipulated, to be drawn into violence, to be asked to do all to commit all the atrocities. But when these young people are equipped with the skills and the positive values, they are able to resist and be resilient to the manipulation for the future.
Out of curiosity, I would want to understand, what is this process? What are the core concepts of this process? How does it begin? What is its middle? And then the graduation stage that these individuals go through?
It's a process, and what we do here at Kigali Genocide Memorial, the Aegis Trust, we are able to look into our history, how the genocide have been evolved, how the ideology of genocide was built up, and what kind of dehumanization, all the steps to genocide. And this is very important for young people to understand about the past of their own nation and their own country. So we look at the consequences of the genocide, how the genocide destroyed this country, destroyed the people of Rwanda, and also destroyed the economy, the infrastructure, and they destroy even the social fabric of this nation. So we are able to equip young people and the communities to understand the early warning signs to genocide, which is very important even in any society around the world. It's very important to be able to identify the risk factors to genocide or to mass violence. So at the end, in the middle, as you just mentioned, so we have theories that we base on storytelling methodology to equip young people to develop the skills. And as mentioned, the skills of critical thinking, the empathy, the personal responsibility. But these skills actually helps to people to make the positive actions. And those positive actions that we wish people and young people to take was actually build up the trust among society, which is very, very important. And these are the basis and the foundation for reconciliation and forgiveness. So at the end, we ask young people and the learners to make commitment. What do you learn from the history of the genocide? But at the same time, with the skills that you learned, how do you apply it in your own community, with among your society and your friends? How do you apply the lesson learned from the peace education program to have an impact of even those who didn't really participated into the learning process with us?
Do our young people do we young people appreciate this program?
Those who had a chance to know about it, to participate in it, they are very much interested. But those who do not, of course, we need to raise awareness about it, because this is very, very important. We need to make sure that young people understand there's an opportunity. You can learn about your past, you can link up your past to the present and to the future, and you have that responsibility, not only civic responsibility and employment, but you need to learn how to resolve your conflict, not only about genocide ideology, but also as human life, because the peace education, it's a process that can be incorporated into anything that happens in human lives. So the first thing we did is to run the program here at Kigali Genocide Memorial.
Yes.
And so to take this memorial as a teaching and learning material, we built up a mobile exhibition that has been toured in different places in the country. We've been in the 16 districts of the country, where even the local leaders have been very, very appreciated the fact that we bring the lessons that we learn from the memorial to them, because it's a lesson that really helps them to deal with the ideology of genocide. And you know that the young people today, they have stories, and they carry burden of their parents and the stories from the communities. At some point, they need to be supported to know how to deal with those heavy stories that they collect from their own society, their own community. So the local leaders, they feel that this program helps them to open up the conversation, even the conversation related to Rwanda, even of the conversation related to genocide against Tutsi, how it was actually, how it evolved and how it was committed, and have been playing big role to get it to make it possible. So this is very, very important for all of us, for the young people, for the community, for the parents especially, but also for the local leaders.
As ages, does the program, the peace education program, extend to, let's say, our neighbors? Because it is one thing ensuring sustainable peace internally, but then there are, the external factors. Yes. Our neighbors are fighting. There's a lot of chaos just around us.
Of course, I have to say that we enjoy peace in Rwanda, but we don't live in an island. We are so connected to other countries, and we know that the genocide ideology crossed the border, and even today in the Congo, the Tutsis, they are really targeted group of people to be killed, to be the genocide. If the international community do not work up today, the Tutsi who are living in eastern Congo can be exterminated, and they have been seeing the warning signs. The Congolese and other groups, armed groups in the Congo, have been really showing that they have that desire to continue this ideology of genocide. But it's unfortunate that the world is not learning from what happened in my country. But the journey continues. We know that not only in Congo, in Eastern Congo, but what is happening in many other countries in the world, in Ukraine and Yemen and many places, people really are suffering. So the good news that we have seen in the last 2-3 years, even post-COVID, that we have an increased visitors to Kigali Genocide Memorial. 10,000 people per month is a really huge number of people that can visit the memorial. So we hope that people who come to learn from the past of Rwanda, they go back with that commitment. And we hope that we actually share this message of peace, the message of how to prevent this kind of atrocity, such as genocide, mass violence, and mass destruction to happen. So we have a hope that the visitors who come to the memorial really go back with that commitment. But also we've been as Egypt Trust and through Peace Education Program sharing this message of peace in many other countries in Africa, including Kenya, South Sudan, South Africa, Nigeria, and many other places. And we can count like 16 countries in Africa. So we are very committed to, through a new institution that we're creating this time, we're in the process of creating Isoko Peace Institute, which will be like a platform or will be a center that's really help to spread this message to the world. We want to invite different people from different cultures, people who went through a conflict, a different country, a conflict in different context, to come and learn from here, but also to experience the process that this country went through to rebuild the society and to rebuild Rwanda. And to make Rwanda as very safe, actually one of the safest countries in the world, with a growing economy, but at the same time, we need to make sure that this cannot be done without peace.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. For a fact, I'll tell, I think our viewers, I'll tell them that rebuilding a country is very, very hard. It's very hard, it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of resources. But I'll tell you something very easy to do. Keeping peace. William Evans, Mtawazi, thank you.
Thank you, William, for the details. Now, despite the postponement of Kwitizina 2024, the annual ceremony for naming baby gorillas, some preparatory activities continued while others were stopped. However, this did not discourage tourists from visiting Rwanda, especially the Volcano National Park. We have more on this. In Kinigi sector, where the baby gorilla naming ceremony traditionally takes place, at the foothills of Volcano's National Park in Musanze district, local residents from sectors neighboring the park have been tasked with beautification and cleaning activities. Pedestrian pathways and parking areas are being well maintained to uphold the area's standards. The money we earn here helps us address various issues. It also allows us to purchase necessities or buy livestock, which can provide support when we are not working here. This truly contributes to our development. Following the postponement of the baby naming ceremony, the number of workers hired was significantly reduced. Initially, around 700 people were employed, but now only about 100 remain as many tasks were stopped. Simon Iyarugema is among the
The workers are divided into different categories. Some prepare bamboo, others gather and prepare grass for construction activities, and there are those who construct using metals or perform various other tasks. Once the work is completed, the workers no longer have tasks to carry out. So far, we have used half of the allocated budget for these activities. We plan to finish paying all the employees by Thursday.
From the site hosting the naming ceremony to the RDB office in Kinigi, tourists from around the world continue to visit the Volcano's National Park. Precautionary measures against the Marburg virus are in place, including hand washing and temperature checks for high fever, a key symptom of the virus.
Yesterday we got to experience an incredible time with the gorillas. We got to really understand how similar they are to us in not just the way that they looked, but in the way that they acted and cared for each other. And what was so amazing was our experience with animals is often when you see them, if they're not domesticated, they're very scared of you. And they were so unfazed when we were there. They were just completely living their lives, and what I loved so much was we didn't make them come to us. We just went to them in their complete natural habitat in what they would have been doing if we were there or not. You can really tell that this organization has such a great network of individuals that work here that have built such a great relationship with the gorillas that they trust them, so that we are able to experience and get so close and be able to just see them and interact with them in the ways that we were. We decided to visit the gorillas despite that because it was kind of a bucket list item for everyone. It's so different than any vacation we've ever taken, and honestly anything we've ever been able to experience. And It's just an incredible country, and we've been blown away. And you are able to always see animals, and safari is amazing and you can see them, but it's very rare that you can interact with them and that you go out and find them in the ways that you do on foot and not from the safety of a car or something like that. And honestly, the infrastructure here, the way things have been run, we felt completely safe.
It's been a fantastic experience. Rwandan people have been extremely welcoming, despite markets have been safety measures everywhere. They're giving us sanitizing gel, they're taking our temperatures everywhere, so it's been really cool to be around here and experience everything Rwanda has to offer.
What have you enjoyed the most?
I mean, my favorite part has definitely been the gorillas, being able to be out there, interact with them, seeing how they interact as a family, all the different stuff they do. And it's a really cool activity because of how they engage the entire community, right? The porters are local people, the guides are local people, the trekkers are local people. So it's just a really cool experience to be able to go out there, see them in their natural habitat, see how they engage, and seeing that it's something that benefits the entire community at large. So it's really nice.
Prosper Uwingeri, the chief park warden of Volcanoes National Park, stated that visitor activities at the park have not ceased during this time.
Ntabwo rwose hano kuri Parike National y'Ibirunga nta bashyitsi bazabona bafite impungenge.
Well, here at the National Volcanoes Park, visitors arrive with confidence rather than hesitation or concern. They appreciate the existing measures in place, which have been implemented since the COVID-19 period and continue to this day. These measures include maintaining hygiene standards and wearing masks, all of which provide reassurance to both Rwandans and international visitors. Additionally, these efforts align with the park's mission to protect biodiversity.
As a touristic town, Musanze continues to host various activities, including conferences, sports competitions, and other events that attract many visitors, providing income for its residents and local workers. The Rwanda Development Board has assured Rwandans and visitors that a new date for the naming ceremony will be announced soon. Tomorrow News, experts in journalism along with leaders from the Rwanda Governance Board stress the need for enhancing professional journalism practices in Rwanda. They advocate for the increased adoption of digital tools, particularly the effective use of social media to foster sustainable journalism in the country. And Nora Gladys with more.
Journalists, together with directors from different media houses, clarify that they have to improve their way of using social media platforms professionally as their audience is developing by using digital platforms more than the usual way of using television and radios only.
Normally we face challenges by knowing our line of work, what we do on daily basis, how to present, how to behave, cooperate with this kind of hard work we do on daily basis, but also by learning that this is not our only job to do, emphasizement on how we do our daily job. We learned that by learning more, like using technology, it will be better for us to know how to do a better job going with where the era it is now or where the world is going.
The main challenge is, first of all, that the media is facing is financial sustainability, because could it be content? It requires money to invest in it. Could it be human resources? It requires financial means. But also what we've seen is that before even wondering what are the measures to be taken, we should question what are we offering. So in terms of content, we haven't been able to go digital, to know that now the social media going digital, using digital opportunities to be more creative in terms of attracting more audience and listeners as well readers, that once you have listeners, once you have figures, it will be easier to convince partners.
The Global Advisory of World Association of News Publishers and Director of Insight, Mrs. Susan Makore, points out that their biggest aim is to develop sustainable journalism in Rwanda and worldwide as media sustainability and media can be done as a business.
We are talking about issues of media sustainability. Today we were having conversations on what can be done to ensure that the media as a business, they thrive. what strategies can both government and public sector and private sector put in place to ensure that the businesses are thriving, and also that issues of staff welfare are taken care of. We're quite privileged to have the RGB CEO weigh in terms of how invested they are in supporting media organizations in order to be financially stable.
The head of Department of Media Sector Coordination and Monitoring at Rwanda Governance Board, Bosco Rushingabigwi, points out that journalists should try to develop their way of using digital platforms, specifically in this generation, and have media professionalism.
As you mentioned, that the main topic was media financial sustainability, and particularly in this digital era. The reason is why, the reason why this topic was chosen by the Rwanda Association of Journalists, which is the main organizer with FOYO and Women in News, is that we've been extensively discussing about media professionalism, content. But we thought it was high time to discuss about financial viability, because you cannot create professional content without the required resources. Because as you know, to produce quality content, you need a skilled journalist, you need resources to send that journalist on the field, you need appropriate equipment. We are now in the digital era, so you need clean image. In any way, to be efficient and professional, you need resources.
Based on the assessment held by Rwanda Governance Board 2 years ago, findings highlighted that the legal and regulative framework is conducive for investment in the media sector and the participation of 180 practicing journalists, among which around 78% hold bachelor's degree in different careers and 73% are qualified in journalism area. Enora Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Moving ahead, BPR Bank has sponsored the rally competition known as the Rwanda Mountain Gorilla Rally, scheduled to take place this weekend from October 18th to 20th. The event will feature prominent participants, including Karan Patel, who currently holds the top position in Africa's rally standings. Saula Sandra with more on this.
The Kenyan Kalan Peter, who is the champion of the African Car Rally competition, will be part of a team sponsored by BPR Bank in collaboration with KCB Group. He will collaborate with his teammate Tassif Khan during the competition. Both Kalan and Tassif expressed their excitement about competing in the Rwanda Mountain Gorilla Rally, with aspirations to secure victory and maintain their lead in Africa.
It's an honor to be back here in Kigali again for the Mountain Gorilla Rally, and it's really nice also to have BPR and KCB on board with us, and hopefully, this is it's going to be another win for us this year, making it a hat-trick. So hopefully we maintain our status as the rally leaders and the champions of Kigali. And that just speaks quite loud for what BPR Bank is doing for us and contributing towards.
So yeah, we're really looking forward to the weekend coming up. A big thank you to BPR and KCB for supporting us always. We're taking our car out for the first time in Rwanda, and in general. So it'll be fun to see what the car can do and how we can perform. We hope to give Karan some competition.
Albert Akimanzi, the head of marketing at BPR Bank, explained that the decision to sponsor the car rally starts from the bank's commitment to support and promote sport in general.
This is something that's very exciting for us. BPR Bank is a partner for motorsport, but in particular, we are partnering to give a boost to the drivers that we see in front of us here today. So we are very happy to have Karan and Tausif and Nikhil and Deep, who are going to be taking on the very challenging Rwandan roads and gravel. But more importantly, I think it's also good that we celebrate the progress that they have made so far. And I believe that we shall see them top of the podium come the end of this race. So for us, that's quite big as BPR Bank. And, we believe a lot in investing in sport as we do our community.
BPR Bank has invested 15 million Rwandan francs into this competition, while KCB Group has contributed 15 million Kenyan shillings to the rally. The Rwanda Mountain Gorilla Rally will host various teams, including the KCB Group team featuring Kalan, Peter, and Tasif Khan. Saula Sandra Tumukunde, RTV News.
You're still watching RTV News. Now to matters making headlines globally. On the international scene, let us go to the Middle East, where Lebanese refugees have been fleeing to Syria as the Israel-Hezbollah conflict intensifies. CCTV has more on this.
A potential refugee crisis is developing in Syria as a result of the ongoing escalation of fighting between Israel and Hezbollah, with many Lebanese forced to flee. Humanitarian groups say tens of thousands of people are crossing the border from Lebanon into Syria, where a civil war has been happening for more than a decade and the economy is in tatters. Officials at a registration center in Damascus have been assigning people accommodations as well as providing medical and other support. For many Lebanese refugees, attacks from the Israeli Defense Forces were stronger and more intense than in previous incursions.
There was shelling, so we left. The shelling was very close to our house, so we left for safety, especially since we have children. The road from Bakar to the Lebanese-Syrian border was a bit dangerous because they were bombing civilians and their vehicles. Many civilians were killed.
Even in the 2006 war, things were not like this. At that time, our village was not affected. But in this war, our village was bombed too. The bombing was very intense. The Israeli military has been constantly firing missiles randomly at us.
Many of the people re-entering Syria are Syrian nationals who fled their country years ago amid the civil war. Some face prosecution as enemies of the state if they're caught by authorities, further complicating the refugee crisis.
This story brings us to the end of tonight's bulletin, but before we leave, a reminder of our top stories. The President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, demonstrated that retired Ambassador Colonel Dr. Joseph Karemera, who recently passed away, will always be remembered for the values of patriotism and service he embodied throughout his life. Aegis Trust Peace Education Program in Rwanda is a program that emphasizes empathy, critical thinking, and personal responsibility. On the international scene, we have seen how the Middle East, where Lebanese refugees have been fleeing to Syria as the Israel-Hezbollah conflict intensifies. And this marks the end of tonight's bulletin. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast. On behalf of the Technical News Production team, we thank you for being with us and have a productive week ahead.